And today we are doing CCM ear training with Kiley Dean. So let me read Kiley's bio and we're going to bring her up to go ahead and begin her portion. So, with a music career spanning decades, Kiley has graced the stage and studio alongside Britney Spears, Madonna, Demi Lovato, Timberland, New Kids on the Block, and more top names. Years ago, Kiley found herself trapped in the confines of the industry, pressured to conform to the world's expectations and to be someone she was not. She's been told who to be, where to be, what to sing, what to look like, and that she still never added up. She struggled to find her place and finally embraced who she was. A pop vocalist with a gospel flair, a worship leader, a vocal coach, a wife, a mother, a cancer survivor, a beacon of support and empowerment to other singers struggling to find and protect their own vocal identity in a challenging industry. Kiley has experienced the highest peaks and the deepest valleys and emerged stronger than ever. Not only as a ridiculous singer, and she is, I hope she'll sing a little bit for y'all today, not only as a ridiculous singer and coach, but also a funny, relatable, and truly authentic person. Her great love is to challenge other singers to do the same, and she is going to help us today with CCM ear training. Let's welcome Kiley while I bring her on.
Hello.
Hey, girl. We can't see your face, but we hear your voice.
There's so many pop-ups. If they would just stop popping up. Hello.
I know. Welcome, Kiley. I just read your bio so everybody know who you are and what you're doing and what you've done and all of that.
Well.
We are ready for you to teach us. How do we listen to this CCM music, girl? Help us out. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much. I'm assuming that, hopefully this will make sense, but the word I love to lean on here is just intentionally listening.
Yes.
Please feel free to kind of navigate me and just ask questions as I go.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I love to talk to my students about is, listening for, so say if I know a lot of people in here are technically trained, right? You guys are operatically, theatrically, whatever it is, it's kind of the same bubble.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of technique.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great thing to have.
Yeah.
But it's also a pigeonhole sometimes. It can be too afraid to get out of what we know, what we've been drilled to know and do. Mine, I can say the same thing. I saw a reaction from people when I was loud. Hey! So it must be great, right? Not necessarily. You take what you have and you control it. And you use it when you need it.
Right.
I really don't ever need to be screaming that loud ever, unless it's like, a moment. And if I do, I got to learn how to control that. Anyway.
Yes.
So when we listen, one of the things I had to do to kind of retrain myself in the belt wailing world was to go to my favorite singer, Whitney. Whitney and I Will Always Love You at the highest place of the song. Everybody, when they go and they sing it at karaoke or they try to mimic what she did, it's usually they can't do it, number one, or because it's Whitney, or it's
It's
so aggressive and
yeah.
it's so squeezed.
Yeah.
She gets to that top note and it's like she left 10%, 20% of her power in her back pocket.
Yes.
Because she doesn't have to. And she still fills up that space with so much unbelievable power and pureness.
Yes.
So you sent me some names of which I cannot access now because I'm on my phone.
No, I got you.
Having some issues with my computer and iPad. I don't know why nothing's working for me today. But for instance, let's talk Whitney, okay?
Okay.
If we're intentionally listening to Whitney, She is a technically trained singer,
For sure.
but she is using all of these techniques to her benefit, her specific voice. She's so tapped in to what she knows about herself that all of those technical aspects are merely colors.
Yes.
They're not the color.
Right.
She has taken blue, the larynx position, and throwing it in with fringel, pink. And she's painting with these colors, and it's a work of art because she does it so effortlessly.
Yes.
So if you go to the first verse of I Will Always Love You, all the way into the second, we talked about this a little bit on the IG.
Yeah.
All the way into the first chorus. Now, most people, when they get to chorus, it's they would be like, listen to what I can do. Again, Whitney uses such skill, she makes you wait for it. So there's already a lot of intention that she's taught you that you can hear. She's taught you the intention of how much she's going to give you in the first verse and first chorus. She literally whispers, leaning into her chest voice, very, very seldom. Now, excuse me, she is in her chest voice. It's how she's using it. It's a whisper.
Yeah.
So there's really no, like, she's a butterfly with sore feet, all landing like a butterfly all the way through it.
Yeah.
And then she gets to the second verse and bittersweet larynx position down. I would tell people, if you go to listen and you study singers, start with one thing. Let's just listen to Whitney's tone.
Yes.
Listen to her tone. Listen to how she's using her breath. Listen to where she's breathing. Because it's a cappella. You get that chance to like hear in that song. Listen to how she's breathing. Listen to her, how she's over her tone, the breath.
Okay.
That's intentionally listening to one thing. So when you check mark that, don't even go past the first verse or first chorus. Go back, listen to her timing, listen to where she's taking breath. Listen to if she's, just break the song down in things that if there are certain things you want to get better at, listen to that. But for me, it's all about tone in the first and second first two, verse and chorus. That's a lot. That's a huge like encyclopedia of knowledge in just that song.
So let me ask you this: when you're listening to her tone, what words are you thinking to? Can you give us some words, some language to describe it? And then what do you do next? Do you go and mimic it? I would love for you to talk about the power of mimicking, because we don't do a lot of that in academic studies.
Yes. So yes. Ooh, this is so exciting. I just get excited to answer it. So people will say, well, I've had so many students say, I do not want to listen to somebody and only sound like them. You won't.
Right.
And if you do, holy moly, you sound like Whitney Houston. Let's go. But here's the deal. I don't sound like Whitney.
Right.
But there are times in my voice where people go, did you listen to Whitney growing up or Mariah? Yes.
Yeah.
And you hear the influence. Study them so that when people, and it doesn't have to be these two singers, it can be whoever, Billie Holiday, whoever's voice you resonate with and go, there's something in her soul that hits me, that hits mine.
Yes.
So you go and you listen to that. What was the question you asked? Oh, how do you explain it? So Whitney's tone, think about saying a word like this. So if I are the first two words she says. The difference is connected chords with a lot of air between the chords. If I, that's connected chords. Hers is breath. If I. So it's almost like she's whispering at the same time she's singing.
Yeah.
At the same time, her chords are still connecting. Right? So there's an intentional listen to the breath. Granted, you're using a lot of breath when you do that.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware of where you're grabbing the next breath. If I better grab this next one. Should stay. Better grab the next one because you're using it. So
Right.
you start to
Correctly.
listen. Okay, well, she's using a lot of breath. And then you start, oh, well, she's breathing here. Okay. It's starting to be like a dance. So there's step one.
I love
Intentionally listen to how she's using the breath
it.
over the notes and try it. And if you're shaky, if it's like, hey, it's because it's something new, number one,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And you could be dumping instead of singing from your diaphragm. It's very important that the air, if I, you can gauge it as you
Yes.
go, but your core has to stay engaged so that you're not fully dumping unnecessarily.
No, that's really clear. I totally
Yeah.
get that. Yes. So you kind of already talked about mimicking though. It the thing is not to sound like the singer, it's just to pull influence. And I think for classical singers, mimicking is really helpful because it can show us more of what we can do. We've been singing
Exactly.
one way for decades, and it's like we think our voice can't do nothing else. You know
Sure.
what I mean? So mimicking kind of
Absolutely.
gets us out of that technical mode, and it's like just play around. You
Yep.
just try to mimic exactly what you hear. So it's beneficial.
It's the same thing with riffing. I can't tell you how many people are like, man, I'd love to riff. You can. You just haven't broken down the steps of
Yeah.
riffing.
Yeah.
All you have to do is count the notes, right? Count the
Yeah.
notes. So say if it's I don't know, a Yeba song.
Hmm.
She loves to do like 11 note riffs. You just count them. So like fly. That's not really a riff. It's more like a jumpy thing, but still.
Hmm.
That's 12 notes. You
Hmm.
slow them down, you count them. She bends on the 11th note. And the next thing you know, you're riffing. You
Wow.
just have to slow down the thought process for the
Hmm.
brain to catch up.
Hmm.
Okay, what is Whitney doing? What is Yeba doing? What is Luther doing? What
Hmm.
is so and so doing? Whoever it is, and then you can go in, since you guys already have the technical training. You guys may have better verbiage than even me to explain things. But like Luther's connection is so tight.
Talk about that, girl. Woo! Because he's one of my favorites.
Well, he's also like one of those male singers along with Michael, who he can get into that thin place of his vocal cords as a male,
Yeah.
which is not always easy. But the ones that do it, and they do it like
Yeah.
Luther, uh, it's a whole different ballgame. That's why he was so. I mean, he was a writer, right? He penned a
Yeah.
lot of hits, and people are
Yeah.
like, "Get up there and sing."
Hmm.
So he was like, he became something because people heard what he could do. But his is my love, oh my love. He's holding back. 1,000 visits from you is never too much. And that first one, he held back, right?
Yes.
He's got a lot of control. You can break down his voice and connection. Boop,
That's what
boop,
I was gonna
boop.
say. Tell us. Yeah. Okay. Good. Go
So
ahead.
so he's got a lot of connection in
Okay.
his voice. He's very good at in the thin places, he still connects. Because a
Hmm.
lot of people will get up to the, especially men, because they're used to using such a range in their chest,
Yes.
area.
Hmm.
Him and um, MJ, I don't know, I bounce back and forth, but MJ's a lot like Whitney on I Will Always Love You in the looking out.
Hmm.
Da, 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 da.
Yep.
But he's got that air.
Yep.
Luther's more connected, in my opinion, from what I'm thinking of Never Too Much.
Yep.
He's very connected up there. So his chords, a way to get connection in chords is vocal fry.
Yes.
Boop, 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 those kind of things to
Yes.
make sure your chords are connecting.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, Luther he's all around I mean, I don't know if he's trained, but when you hear people, you're like, they've had to have some sort of formal training. They just know
I
how
know
to
he
get.
studied with Seth Riggs, girl, because I got the book of the
There
people
it
that
is.
studied with Seth Riggs. Tamia, MJ studied with Seth. So yeah,
Seth's old school.
I
Yeah, he's
know,
like,
but they
yeah,
studied with him though.
yeah. Then there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you
So
know, you see how people use it, and you hear the singers who don't. You do. And it's like, oh, they have some knowledge, that because it's all about control.
yeah,
It's not about using the techniques and getting stuck in them.
yeah.
It's about using the techniques and using them for your particular sound.
Mhm.
So if you're wanting to be a belter, or you're wanting to be more of like, you know, the beauty of belting is like, nobody would really describe it this way, but it is so true. Less is more.
Truly, when you know what's going on and what makes it up, we do describe it like that. That's absolutely right.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Mm-mm.
yeah, who wants to hear that? That's why Whitney held back.
Yes.
I mean, I sound like I'm belting, but I'm singing at a 65%. You know what I mean? But that's the control. And
Yes.
you already, who's ever been studying or feels like they're stuck, that's okay, because you have the knowledge. Your brain just needs to know where to put it.
Yes. Yes.
That's why when we do warm-ups or workouts, I'll tell people, get into your pharyngeal, your pharynx, walk up, get it in your nose, and
Mhm.
make it sound like that. And people go, well, I don't want that. You're not going to sound like that, but your brain needs to know, hey, this takes some weight off of this and
Yes.
this.
Yes.
I mean, you're not going to get if I without this,
Right.
without pharyngeal.
That's
Because
right.
if otherwise it sounds like if I, you don't get the tone.
Right.
So it's all these just like perfectly, it's like a cake. I always say this. It's
Mhm.
like baking a cake or painting a picture. If you watch Bob Ross, he's not like, take this color and this color and it. He's
Right.
taking a certain amount and
Mhm.
getting the color that he wants, and he's making a work of art.
Yes, yes. This girl, this is so good. I want to ask you about one more male singer when you talk about thin folds, the Steve Perry from Journey.
Sure.
Don't Stop Believing. Is he the same thing? To talk about
Uh
that, what would we listen for in that? How would you describe that?
Fringel. Yeah,
Okay.
he's I don't think of here we stand. He's got a lot of the larynx position vocal valve open for him to hit those high notes.
Mhm.
Worlds apart, hearts broken in now. Meow, Fringel. Meow. Feeling that it's gone. He's very fringel and
Mm.
open in his vocal valve.
I got
He's also gritty.
you. Mm.
I'm actually studying more on texture and tone, not tone, texture and
Yes.
grit,
Mm-hmm.
because um there are some people, I'm not a doctor, so I don't like to get in that world.
Yeah.
I'm more of like an intentionally, like what we're doing today,
Yeah.
listening and applying
Yeah.
kind of vocal coach. So for me, it's like I want to know how people like Steve Perry, Teddy Swims,
Mhm.
get the in their voice and
Mhm.
still have vocal cords. Oh, and still have vocal cords to sing. Because I mean,
It's real.
there are people like Axl Rose and Janis Joplin who I'm like, I don't even know if she was still alive, she wouldn't, I don't believe that she would have a singing voice because
Right.
it's so
It's harsh.
harsh.
Yeah.
And you can hear it with certain singers, that even Whitney, God rest her soul, before it was getting rough for her.
Mhm.
People get into bad habits with all of this, uh fame and stardom and all that. There becomes people that struggle with that. So
Yeah.
therefore life in general becomes harder. Therefore this becomes, stress, any of that will affect.
Right.
So but yeah, I'm so curious to I can't remember if Steve Perry quit Journey because of his voice or his back. I
Okay.
know he had some sort of injury, but I feel like vocally he was struggling too. So, um,
Mhm.
yeah, it's all about. And then there are some people who can, just like I said, they can hit those places when their vocal cords thin out,
Mm-hmm.
easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like just genetic makeup.
I got you. No,
You know what I mean?
I do. I
So
do.
he can get into those places, and if that's what he's working,
Mm-hmm.
just like a muscle that you're trying to build, you're gonna see that line. He's gonna see it strengthen here. I
Yeah.
had I used to have a really thin, like, I could get there real easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, how do I get back in to that place?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, are you working it? And I was like, oh, no, I'm not. Yeah. And I go, well, how do I do it? She gave me these exercises. She goes, and you need to do these, which is like meow and like things to thin out the vocal cords in a healthy way, not that. It's the
Right.
opposite. Gentle, approaching it with caution so
Yeah.
that you're not hurting yourself, but you're getting in there, backing off the note, backing off the volume,
Mm-hmm.
and getting in there in a healthy way. And eventually that line, that definition will start, you'll be able to get into those places easier because you're working the thin part of your vocal cords.
Yeah.
I like to live in my thick part.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's easy for me there. But that's harder. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to work that.
Have to work it. So Kylie, this makes so much sense. I want to ask you about a couple of other artists. Like if you're on your phone, you don't have another. I can play it on mine. Like if
No, I
we.
got it. I got my iPad.
Oh, good. So
Yeah.
if we were gonna listen to songs, I wrote a couple of ones that came from people's Fab Five. So I'm gonna give that
Love
to
it.
you in a minute, and I'm watching the time. So if you had to give us a list of like things to listen for, so you mentioned tone, you mentioned breath, you mentioned chord connection on IG Live, you mentioned riffs, power. Like, give us kind of a, cause we like lists, baby. Give us something so when we're listening, we kind of know, like, okay, what can I listen for here? You've kind of
So
go ahead.
no. Yeah. I would listen to people's um well, let's take Tamia, because I know she's on your list.
She's mine though. Don't do mine. That was me. I'm gonna give you one from there. Somebody said Faith Evans. I thought that
Faith
was a good one.
Faith Evans is great.
Yep. Somebody mentioned Faith. Somebody said Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder. It's a few of them that's coming to mind. Sandy Patty was one.
Sandy Patty.
Sandy Patty, honey.
So Faith. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go with Faith.
Okay.
All air. Now those are the backing vocals. I never knew there was a. So she's singing over her backing vocals.
Yes.
So you can break down two pieces, right? The first one is the backing vocals, all air, just like Whitney. Love like this before. So she's not overpowering her lead. And then her lead on top of it is never, no, never. Larynx position. There's a full in her voice. A love like this before. Hear that? There's a thick, full vocal valve open. The tongue and like the top of the soft palate are almost touching. Never had. So you're making room in your mouth to get the sound out, but you're also making it like gospely.
Yes.
Thick.
Yes.
Never had someone. She didn't go, someone. She pulled back.
Yeah.
Someone to show me love. And she, I mean, like, even when she goes, never had somebody, she doesn't push through and break the wall down. She holds back.
Yeah.
And that is her power, is her control.
That
makes sense?
Yes, it makes sense. This
Okay.
is so good though, because when we listen, we hear that commercial sound, especially coming from classical, and we think we gotta push and overly squeeze
because we don't know.
I know it sounds
we don't know.
powerful, but it's the resonance, it's the pharyngeal, it's the resonance, and as well as the dopey.
She is landing perfectly with the colors.
Yeah.
She did pharyngeal, larynx, volume, breath. Beautiful, perfect painting. She's taken all the colors, all the, is it timber? Not timber,
Amber.
timbre.
We got you.
Yeah. Long
No,
day.
you good.
All the timbre. And
Mm-hmm.
she's using them in a perfect way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Who else did you say?
Yeah, somebody mentioned Marvin Gaye. Somebody said Sandy Patty. Somebody said Stevie Wonder. I'm remembering the men's names.
Well,
of course,
so Marvin Gaye, right?
Marvin Gaye.
We
Yep.
got
Somebody said Adele.
Adele. So Adele is thicker vocal cords. Marvin Gaye right here, same thing. It's so soft.
Yeah.
Marvin. Listen to that tone.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a great raspy tone, which is something I'm taking a deeper dive in to study about. Brother, 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 there's far too. He's got more connection than he's using. So his connection's really great here. And then he gets up into the higher. Fringel. Here we go. So right there, for a male to get up into that high note, the larynx position has to stay down. I'm getting technical.
You fine?
You all know this, but for him
Yeah.
to get up there, instead of going to bring some love in here today, oh, he drops his larynx, yawn. To bring some love in here today, oh. So he's in that place of his voice. Now, the first part, intentionally listening, it was very on a Whitney Houston vibe.
Breathy,
Brother, 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 brother.
Yeah.
There's far too many. He's just, it's the first verse. So it's simple, it's soft, it's easy. And then by the pre-chorus, what's to bring some love? He's in his larynx, he's in his fringel, and he's pushing more.
Yeah.
So you can break down what the singers are doing, intentionally listen to where they're sitting in their tones. That's a huge thing. That's the draw. That's why all these singers you're talking about, they lean into their tone and then they give you the power. It's like a chemistry set. You put this much drop in this, it's going to make this, and that's what they're doing. It's a formula.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love that. Let me see if we got any questions in the chat. Emily said beautiful. Okay, we have some more people to come in. Somebody said, question for Kiley. How does one begin to hone their own original style if they like different artists with different voices?
That's actually that you literally answered your own question. That's how you do it. And you do it in your way. So say if you love Adele, Stevie Wonder, Lionel Richie, all these artists, you listen to them and you pick why you like them.
Yep.
For me, Whitney's tone, Mariah's tone, Mariah's tone, it can be a little nails on a chalkboard for me sometimes. It's too much. I know that sounds crazy.
What does that mean when you say it's too much nails? Is it too forward? Is it too what?
It's too breathy at points. So for instance, as good as this sounds, after listening to this on a record of 10 songs and her doing the same thing every time, it's like Ariana Grande. It's that thing. This is just my personal preference.
We got you.
It can be too much. Whitney didn't do that. Whitney, it's like she used it and got off of it. She used it and got off of it. Ariana Grande, I can't listen to because she only does that. And then I'm just like, as good as it is, it ain't for me. And then I start to get like, okay, it's all air. It's all air. And then I'm like wanting more, you know?
Yeah.
So what you do is you pull, but you can take Ariana Grande and be like, I really like her tone in certain places. Again, technical.
Yeah.
Put that on your spice shelf to grab when you want it. Don't pour the spice open and ruin your meal. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like, and some singers can do that. And I'm telling you, Mariah probably got to a place where she was singing so much that was a part of her voice that was easily accessible. Right? She doesn't use those parts of her chords all the time. So they probably kind of goes against what I said before, but she's not overusing them. so
Yeah.
she can still access those places easily, if that makes sense.
I got you.
Anyway,
I got you. You're fine.
So having influences is a great thing. Um, and as you grow and you put them, again, it's like spices on a
Yeah.
shelf.
Mm-hmm.
That's Lionel. I want a little bit of his his fringel, the way he pronunciates his words. This can be a slippery slope. That's how we got cursive singing. People were listening to Amy Winehouse and Adele, and next thing you know, they're like, oh, hi, yeah. And they're singing American English with this adopted, odd cursive language. Try my own time, babe. What are you saying? You're
Right.
from Arkansas, you know? So you have to be careful. Listen, and that's why intentionally
Yeah.
listening
Yeah.
is so important. Listen to yourself imitating these people.
Mm,
And just because you only listen to Lionel isn't going to make you sound like Lionel, because Lionel's Lionel and
that's
you're
right.
you.
That's
You're
right.
not going to sound as, you could be doper or not as dope as Whitney, and that be your only influence, and you're still not going to sound just like her.
Thank you for affirming us in that, because I think that's a fear. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
thank you for saying that. Hold
for
on, girl.
sure.
I'm getting some questions coming in. Kylie is spot on about her analysis of Mariah. Okay, cursive singing. So Jan asked, please explain grit. We got like maybe 5 more minutes. Please explain grit.
Grit, grit is like a texture thing. So listen to Teddy Swims.
Mm.
Um,
What
there's this
about
new
gospel singers? Girl, don't gospel singers use that? See, I think about growl. I don't know if grit and growl is the same thing.
so Christina Aguilera's growl, she doesn't have grit.
Okay.
We call it the white girl growl because the girl that they try to get that soul, and it was like, okay, it's cute, but it's and it's like, no, it hurts my throat.
Yeah.
Grit is Teddy Swims.
Mm.
For
Okay.
instance, I'll show you real quick. I know
Okay.
we're running out of time.
You're fine.
Listen to this. Um, you can't teach, in my opinion, you can't teach grit and texture. It's
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 soul. I feel like it's
it's
soul. It's connected to what comes out.
it is, but also, like, this is going to sound horrible, but a lot of singers who have that grit smoke, or they have, this, I know it's crazy. And a lot of people, I remember Toni Braxton saying, I want to go, and she loves,
I know that she's a
I'm
good one.
like, but she wanted to record when she was sick, because it gave her that texture,
Oh,
that grit.
wow.
So Teddy, he approaches,
Wow.
is he okay? In my head, is he okay vocally? Because his grit is so high, lose, yeah. Hear that?
It's kind of breaking up a little bit.
So there's plenty of singers you can hear like him. He
Mhm.
has a tone. It's not even a tone. A tone is something different. It's a
Mhm.
texture. It's a
Yeah.
grit.
Mhm.
I lose control. And it's in there, and it's this texture that he has. Um, if Whitney were to sing it, it wouldn't sound that way. Or another guy who didn't have it, it would be hear all that. It's
Yeah.
tone. He's got a tangible, almost like
No, so
grit.
this is my question. Is he intentionally adding that, or do you think there's maybe something on his chords that is
I
produced?
think he's a smoker.
Okay, got you. Okay. Okay.
That's what I think.
I got you.
But or a drinker.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and that's how, yeah. And some people's vocal cords are um, you know, that'll only get you so far. I would never say to do any of that stuff. I think
yeah.
that's not good at all.
Right.
But or he's, he grew up playing football, and to me, I just, or that's just naturally how he sounds.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of aspects. I don't think you can teach texture.
Okay.
And the white girl growl, that I don't recommend. If you want to, hey, no, throw it in here and there.
Yeah.
But to lean on it as a thing,
Yeah.
don't do it.
I got you.
Just don't.
So look, well,
it
Kylie,
hurts.
I know, Kylie. Before we go, this just came to mind. This it. Talk about Madonna's voice, cause you traveled with her, you toured with her. Talk about Madonna. What is her sound? Why is she an iconic voice? What's up with that?
She's an iconic voice because she's an iconic artist.
Okay.
Not an iconic voice. It is now because she's 40 years deep.
Okay.
She has two places in her voice that I would have to match, and this is so fun to talk about. She has a very frangel, yeah. So borderline, feels like I'm going to lose my mind. You hear that other part?
Yes.
Say goodbye, the night is over. So she has this full glottally layer, like, and she has the sound. So it was really fun because I'm her ghost whenever I work with her. And it's really cool to get in those two completely separate places. And that's what I find so amazing about her voice. Hate or love.
Yeah.
Preference, right?
Yeah.
She's got in that bedtime stories era where she really leaned into that. You're frozen. That's actually Ray Light. You're frozen when your heart's not. The fact that that exists in the same voice as like a virgin,
right,
is kind of wild.
Wow.
It's just crazy because she did both, and she reinvented her voice almost when in her 30s and 40s as from her 20s and before. So that's always really cool, and to sing those iconic songs with her was, I would like pinch myself and be like, whoa, are we really singing these songs right now in China? Right. This is crazy.
Wow.
So
that is so cool, girl.
Yeah.
So cool. Okay, people are laughing because you cutting up. I know. I told y'all she was fun. Honey, thank you so much. This
oh my gosh.
has been such a treasure. I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh. You're so welcome. I hope that was a lot of jumping around. I hope some of this you can grab and understand.
Yeah.
But intentionally listening is the game, because the voice starts here.
I love that.
And then it applies here. So start here and then work your way to sounding how you want to what you hear.
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you. So, Emily, they're saying thank you in the comments. So we appreciate
Of course. Of course. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, y'all. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye.